Welcome to KFGO for a Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. He's in studio with me. Neil, welcome back.
Good morning.
And I'm Amy Eiler from It Takes Two, usually here Monday through Friday from 11 to 2, but I hang out on Sunday mornings with Neil Van Dam. And this show is all about the great nonprofits doing sort of the hard work in our community and shining a spotlight on the people that are making a big impact on our community. And today in studio, we have Fraser. You've probably been hearing all about their Festival of Trees. We'll talk about that as well. But Sandra Leyland is in studio with us from Fraser. Sandra, welcome to KFGO Radio.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Let's give a little bit of a background of who Fraser is. I feel like the name and the logo is pretty iconic to our town, but just because you drive by your building on University or you might see the logo when you go to the Festival of Trees doesn't really mean that you understand the hard work that you're doing in our community. So who is Fraser and what is the history of the organization?
Oh, thank you for the opportunity again. Fraser Limited is 132 years old. By charter, we're the longest nonprofit in the state of North Dakota.
Wow.
We do a lot of things, and I think many times people don't realize that we are no longer the Florence Crittenton Home for Unwed Mothers. It's taken a while to get the message out. So one of the things that we do, we have actually 5 service areas, but one of the things we originally started doing was adult services, group homes, if you will, residential sites for adults with developmental disabilities. And from there, we started discovering a lot of unmet needs in the community, and we thought through some strategic planning efforts, we should probably address some of those. So as we went along, we found out that there were many kids that were being discharged from child care centers, primarily because of behavioral issues and things like that. And that, of course, was right in our wheelhouse, dealing with behavioral issues and cognitive disability. So we integrated with the child care center already in existence and started offering a child care center where you had typically developing kids and those with special needs coming together. So we did that for a number of years. Through those efforts, we learned a little bit more about some of the needs for youth in our community, and we started looking at the issues that were surrounding kids that were in transition, children, youth, young adults, whatever label you want to put on them, but they were at risk. They were at risk of being unhoused. They were at risk of incarceration. They were vulnerable prey for drug dealers, et cetera, et cetera. So we looked at that and said, we have expertise in residential services. We could possibly do some good here. So we started working through a resource center called Stepping Stones Resource Center, and we brought the youth in and provided them with case management services, showers, laundry services, food, clothing when necessary, and eventually the resource center then evolved into housing, permanent supportive housing. And that was about 6 years ago. As we've gone along, we've noticed that there have been many things. Our mission, I failed to mention our mission, but our mission is about supporting children, youth, and adults on their journey to independence. And as you know, if you're going to be an independent person at any stage in your life, there are certain things that you have to have. So we recognize mental health, addiction as one of those things, and we began working. We developed it's actually a community therapy counseling service called Valley Hope. It's through Fraser Limited, and we provide that to the community as well as to those people that we support. So that was an addition brought in to support our mission and to support those people that we serve.
I mean, you're really an organization that just keeps finding a need and then trying to fill it as you
go. I've been there 40 years. So
you have?
I have. So I think
my gosh.
I have a little bit, Fraser, and I've got many staff that have been there almost as long. But we've kind of seen some things.
Wait, tell us your story then. I mean, we need to still talk about Fraser, but tell us your story with Fraser. Like, 40 years is a long time. You must really believe in that mission.
I do, and I knew I shouldn't have mentioned that.
I love it.
I do believe in it, as do the staff. I have some of the most wonderful people on earth that work at Fraser, and they are committed, and they see needs. They bring them to me. I see needs. I say, hey, what about this? And typically the response is, yeah, we should probably take a look at that. Is there anyone we can partner with? Is there anyone we can collaborate with? what do we have? Do we have the resources? I mean, we go through the feasibility
What's the program
studies.
that brings you in 40 years ago? Like, what's the program that you started working with?
I was a special education major.
Oh, okay.
And so I was looking for a job in teaching. I taught for a short period of time. This opportunity presented itself, so I started as the department head for the adult services program that we still run. And from there, actually left for a short period of time and came back. I do believe in Fraser. I believe in our mission. And from there, we've just continued to do what we need to do to make sure that the people we serve are taken care of.
How many people is Fraser serving in a year in our community?
Approximately 2,200.
Wow.
And that's give or take, a few hundred here or there.
Yeah.
And we have about 250 employees. And that, again, is dependent on different services that are being offered I shouldn't say on occasion. We do it on an annual basis. We run a couple summer camps for kids, teaching them skills necessary for independence. We do a volunteer camp where kids can come and learn how to be philanthropic, things like that.
Tell me more about that, the philanthropic camp. I've never heard of that.
It's a volunteer camp, and we take kids between the ages of 10 and 14, and they come for half days for 1 week. I believe it's in August. And we have people come in and teach them about different needs in the community and speak to them. So if guest speakers come in, we try to make it educational, but then we give them an opportunity to go out to a business in town and work and provide. It could be something very simple, sorting mail. It could be going, helping with something on the outside of the building, landscaping, something like that. But it's short. These are young people, and we just want the message to be very positive. So we do bring in, like the Fargo PD has come in, and they might bring in one of their drug dogs and educate the kids on things like that.
So 10 to 14, and where do you sign up for that?
We're at Fraser. All you need to do is give a call.
Yeah. What are the programs that, so Fraser is a big umbrella of a lot of things, and I know you partner with a lot of organizations to make things happen. When people think of Fraser, what are the main programs that you hope that they think of when they see Fraser in our community?
Good question. I don't think there is any one program.
Yeah.
They're all very standalone, and we've tried to design them that way so that we may be one family of services, but each has an expert in their own area.
Yeah.
Obviously we have operations and a board of directors and things like that, but I guess what I'd like people to take away if they're listening to this interview is we have a multitude of things that we can offer to the community, and we'd like to continue to do that.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the Festival of Trees. It's that time of year, and that's what made me think of Fraser right away. Like, oh, gosh, we haven't had Fraser on, and we have to talk about the Festival of Trees and how that's serving community members, but also a really fun event for the public to take part in, too. So we'll talk about that when we come back. Welcome back to KFGO for a Cause. Amy Eiler, Neil Van Dam of the Van Dam Financial Group, and Sandra Leyland is here from Fraser Limited.
We were just talking to Sandra on break here and talking about this whole podcast is about these charities asking for or telling people whatever they want. There's really no goal. And she was telling us about a capital campaign, but honestly said, everyone's just always asking and asking and asking, and I feel guilty doing that. And Amy and I kind of jumped down her throat saying, no, that's what this whole thing is about. If people don't know what you're trying to do, that they have the ability to support, then they don't know how to support. And so I want to throw it back to Sandra. Tell us what about your capital campaign, and feel free to ask away.
Okay, they told me I had to do this. No, frankly, I really do appreciate the opportunity to talk about the campaign. We started it right at the beginning of COVID, and it was to build a Stepping Stones Resource Center, which I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is a place for youth to come and receive direction and support when they're going through things typical to many teens, but they probably don't have the family support that the rest of us had. So anyway, we got started on this campaign. COVID came. We got about, I'd say, a third of the way, half of the way through our construction project, and we took a look at the workforce issues, supply chain issues, and we couldn't continue. So we stopped. Good or bad, we had to make a decision. So we did cease with the capital campaign, and we did cease with construction. We're now back and ready to roll again. We have some funding available to us, but we have about 30% increase in costs. Tariffs have added to those costs, and so we're back raising money again. And we're looking at about $2 million. We're going to need to pull together here so that we can finish the construction. We hope to get started with some of it again yet this fall. We're about a year behind where we had planned to be. We had hoped to put our extended hours into that program by November 1st of this year. And as of November 1st, we are not able to start our extended hours. And what extended hours is, it's our answer to providing youth who do not have a place to live at night, who are in trouble. They need safety. They need adult assistance, case management, if you will. And we're right there with the rest of the shelters in the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo communities, in that we are full. And at this point, we only run our extended hours for 6 months. We start November, we go through April, and it's just to give the kids someplace to go so they aren't going to an adult shelter and rubbing elbows with people that might be a little intimidating and possibly a bad situation for them to find themselves in. Mm-hmm. So we work closely with the shelters. We admire the work that they do. I can't say enough about the people that run those shelters. They deserve applause for what it is that they're trying to do for the community. So the support.
Well, and so do you, because now you're taking a population who is facing homelessness or other situations who are so impressionable. It's those young people who don't have a place to go, and you can really make a big impact on the rest of they have their whole lives in front of them. You're also serving a section of the population that we don't talk enough about, and that is those kids, and I'll call them kids still, who are 18, who have aged out of a lot of the programs that were serving them until they were a, quote, adult. But now there's that gap between that like 18 and 24 or 25. I don't remember. 26. Okay, so that 18 and 26 time frame where they've aged out of a lot of the programs that were supporting them previously, but they're not quite on their feet. And you're sort of that stopgap for that population in our town.
One thing that I really want to make sure we're mentioning as we're talking about fundraising here is there are some major changes to the Big Beautiful Bill that came out in July, that if you're thinking of being very charitable and you're a high income earner in 2025 versus 2026, it's going to be much more tax favorable to give a gift in 2025 than it will be in 2026. If you have any questions on that, look at our website, vandamfinancialgroup.com, and reach out to one of our advisors. But definitely, if you're on the fence of giving this year versus next year, it usually is in your best interest to give in 2025.
Thank you.
And tell us why that is. Just because of tax purposes, like it's not going to be as favorable to give in 2026?
Well, if you're someone who
what
just
changes?
Gives a little bit, and this could be a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, no.
If you're someone who gives just a little bit, the first $1,000 that you give is actually you're going to get a tax credit for in 2026. So that's good for the people who give a little bit. But if you're a very high income earner, the first 0.5% that you give doesn't of your adjusted gross income doesn't count towards the tax deduction, which doesn't exist right now. Also, if you're in above the 35% tax bracket, you don't get full credit for anything above and beyond that versus like you do in 2025. So definitely for people who are making, and we're talking $500,000 or more of income, it's very advantageous for 2025 versus 2026.
And that's good to know. Is everyone calling you in a panic like right now? Like
nobody knows about it.
Neil,
so unless I talk about it,
let's talk about it. Yeah. Okay.
But
call Neil. Call Neil tomorrow on Monday.
Yeah, we're running out of time. There's not a lot of 2025 left.
No, there's not a lot left. But these capital campaigns are so important because the brick and mortar that you use to serve the population that you have, these kids who we don't want the kids in adult shelters. We want them to be served in a different way. The services needed for a child, a teenager, a young adult are different than those services that we've already talked about on this show several times, the adult shelters that exist. They're just very different needs.
Totally. I think we should hire you in our development department. You've done your homework. I don't even know that there's anything I can tag on to with that. I can tell you stories, that'll tug at heartstrings. What it really comes down to is those kids are out there. They're out there for a reason, and it's not about whether or not they're a Fargo native or a North Dakota native. It's about their kids, their youth, young adults. They do not have the support that they need. It's not like it used to be back in my day where it was pull up your boots and just put the big girl panties on and move forward. Life is hard right now, and it's really hard, especially if you are a youth who has not got a role model. You've probably lost your home or you've lost your caregiver. It can be as simple as a caregiver passing away, and the youth suddenly finds himself with nowhere to go. So these are kids, not bad kids. These are good kids.
Yeah.
These are kids that become entangled with prostitution, sexual trafficking. They become entangled with drugs, alcohol. Not all of them. Over 50% of our kids work and give back to the community. So I give a big handout, I guess, to my program staff. They do a fabulous job at getting these kids back on track and working with them. They don't give up. They push forward, and that's exactly what these kids need. We have kids that leave us and will call staff who supported them for a period of time and reach out to them and ask for that support that they should be getting from a family member.
Yeah. It's just so hard. Like, kids don't pick their parents.
No.
It's what I tell people all the time. And so it's really our job as a community to support people like Fraser Limited so that you can support the kids in our community. They don't pick their parents. I tell my kids all the time, like, you are really lucky. You are really lucky for everything you have. There's no such thing as bad kids. We talk about that in our house a lot. There are kids who are making bad choices, for sure. But we just don't know what all of these young people in our community are dealing with. And you're on the front lines of helping them to find better choices or to find support systems and resources, which is just, it's a hard thing and it's a very specific thing. There's only a couple of you in our community. I'm thinking of you and YouthWorks. And outside of that, I don't know that there's other organizations that are supporting this specific need. Is there?
We are the two that typically come to mind.
Yeah.
But again, I'll give a shout out to the other shelter providers in the city because they're very good about trying to connect the kids that they come in contact with back to us or back to YouthWorks. We work with YouthWorks on a daily basis.
Yeah, you have to. You have to collaborate.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the Festival of Trees, because if you've listened to this and you're like, I understand, I want to support your mission. One very easy way to support this mission is to get involved with the Festival of Trees. Tell us about this event.
Okay, it's our 25th year. We started with 75 trees. We're doing over 160 right now. Over the last 25 years, I think we're creeping up towards about 5,000 trees that have been distributed in the community.
Amazing.
It is an amazing event, and it brings together people in the community. And I don't think I've mentioned the respect we have for our business community, who oftentimes just step up when we need it. And so I was standing decorating my family tree yesterday, and I was listening to the people next to me, and they were saying, 1 year we did this, and 1 year we did that, and next year I think we should do this. And it's become an event.
Yes.
It's become a tradition. And it's something that brings awareness as to who we are, but it's also a fun family event. And we do the Cookies with Claus, and that is Santa Claus and a series of different games, face painting.
When is that
like
coming
that.
up?
It's Black Friday.
Black Friday?
Black Friday.
Okay.
It's been Black Friday for 25 years, and kudos and a shout out to the staff because they're giving up their one holiday for the Thanksgiving weekend to go up and help put on that event. That
amazing.
says a lot about the people.
It does. And
Yes, it
the
does.
trees are incredible. Go up and see them. But ours is, I think, like a superhero theme. I got a picture of it from Holly. We had a couple of gals go up and do ours the other day. I think the one year that I did it, we did a coloring theme where it had like color books and crayons and, all kinds of fun stuff on it.
And for those who don't know where it's at,
Oh, it's up at the Fargo Dome. Sorry. Thank you,
It's at
Neil.
the Fargo Dome, and I want to give one little plug.
Yeah.
They came up with a new quote for this year, and it's basically "Come for the trees and stay for our mission."
I love it.
And we're finding that that's what's going
Yes.
on with the people that are
Did
participating.
Costco do the Central Park style, like a huge tree again with all of their goodies?
I can't speak to that directly,
Oh,
but
okay.
they have for several years.
Yes,
so
they
it
have.
wouldn't surprise me that was in place.
They always have a stunner.
We had about 20 trees left to be decorated yesterday. We tried to get everything done by noon yesterday,
Yeah.
but they close up at 5, and so it's kind of a rush to get 160 different people. Take that times 3-4 people, per company coming in.
Yeah.
It's an organized chaos at
And
times.
the headline is that these trees are going to go to families in our community that might not have one.
Absolutely. And sometimes along with that, businesses will give gifts, generic gifts, so
Yep.
that the kids don't go without a gift.
I love it. Sandra, thank you so much. This time went so quickly. Appreciate you coming in and telling us all about Fraser Limited. If people want to get in touch with you, maybe they have a gift to make in 2025. Neil has inspired them.
Yeah, you should talk more about that.
How should they get a hold of you at Fraser?
They can call our main number, or they can go to our website. Either of those will work. We're open 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
So the office is only open the normal business hours, but you'll find us one way or the other.
Sandra, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And Neil,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
thanks.